So if we just take a look at what we'll cover today. So as young people must now continue into education until they're 18, it's really useful for you as business owners and potentially even parents to keep up to date with what's available. So I know further education can be confusing as it is. So by the end of this, you'll know what the future of further education looks like, how you can get involved and what funding is available to you. So I'm also going to be joined by Dan from Unlimited magazine and our student Fen, who is currently taking part in an industry placement there, and they'll be discussing their experiences so far too. So just before we get going, I thought I'd quickly start with a few positives that we've had this academic year. So despite the challenges this year has brought, like a lot of you, we've kept moving forward and got some great achievements to celebrate. So here's just a few. So as you can see, the pandemic's not stopped our students entering and winning competitions, which is great. We've also been shortlisted as a finalist in the Association of Colleges Beacon Awards. We partnered with WANDisco for the Laptops for Kids scheme, which has been absolutely incredible. The support and donations so far. We've already got a number of skills academies at the college as well, and this year has seen the launch of our first construction related academy sponsored by Kia. So if you want to read in depth more about these, you can go to the news part of our website, and there's loads more of good stuff on there too. So to get into actually what we're going to talk about today. So for some of you like me, you might have left education behind a while ago. You may have even left school and started your career journey in the working world straight away, so might even not know what options are available. But as you will be aware, further education is now mandatory. So when people are leaving school, they've got to choose what path they take. So if we have a look at the options that are available. So this was what the options looked like up until September last year. So you can see you've got your A-levels for your students who prefer the academic pathway. They can be completed at school or college. You've got your apprenticeships on the other side, which is your work-based training, usually a day release to a training provider to complete the theory side. And then there's other study options in the middle. So they're what are carried out at college full-time. There's a lot of different qualifications, BTEC and MVQ being the ones you may have heard of, and these cover various industries, sort of like your business, to your catering, and so forth. So what needs to change? So the current education system was reviewed by the Independent Panel on Technical Education, and they highlighted the following issues. So the choice is overwhelming. There's too much to choose from, which makes career guidance really difficult. There's little or no input from employers in curriculum design. So it's meaning that students might not be learning the most up-to-date or relevant techniques for their chosen career pathway. The progression route is unclear. It needs to be a priority to minimise the number of people entering the labour market without skills and qualifications after completing compulsory education. And then they also looked at the skills gap we're currently facing as a nation. So skill shortages are already posing challenges to employers, particularly skilled trades. Employers have also reported concerns about the current and future ability to recruit high-skilled employees. So taking these points into consideration, it was decided that the standard of technical education needed to improve, and that's to support young people and adults to secure a lifetime of sustained skilled employment and meet the needs of the growing and rapidly changing economy, in turn bridging the skills gap that we're facing, and this is where T-levels come in. So what exactly is a T-level? So the T stands for technical, and these are new qualifications for students aged 16 to 19 who have finished the GCSEs, and they sit alongside A-levels and apprenticeships to give young people the technical and practical skills they need to be an asset in the workplace. So the main points you need to know, employers and education providers have been working together to develop the T-levels with the support from the Department for Education. So groups of employers have defined the skills and requirements for each T-level course by participating in something called T-level panels. So this is going to ensure that when students take part, they'll develop the technical knowledge and skills required by employers in that industry. So alongside this, they include a substantial industry placement. And over the next few years, T-levels will scale up to include 24 courses covering 11 skills areas. So if we take a look at a T-level in a little more detail, so here you can see the split between the time in college and the industry placement. So the best way to think of it is the opposite to an apprenticeship. So you've got your 3 or 4 days in college and your 1 day in the workplace. So the technical qualification is made up of core and occupational specialisms. The student will also need a level 2 in both English and maths to pass, and it will include other requirements specific to that course. So it could include additional training, certificates or memberships. And then you can see at the bottom there, the industry placement, which makes up 20% of the programme. So if we just go on now, we'll have a look how further education will change in the future. So now you'll see in the middle is where the T-level sits. So that will become one of the 3 major options for students to study at level 3 alongside your A-levels and your apprenticeships. So the expected type of progression from the T-level is higher level study. So T-levels have UCAS points assigned, and this will support any student who wants to progress to higher education. It can lead to progression to a higher or degree level apprenticeship, or of course it could go straight into employment, because the combination of technical and practical skills development will mean that the student is now ready to enter industry on completion. So at the college, we're busy preparing for T-levels. We plan to deliver in 2023 when all the T-levels have been rolled out. So over the last few years, we've been building capacity by working collaboratively with local employers to offer placements to our full-time students. So not only is it an amazing experience for the students, but it helps us to create and shape what a placement will actually look like for 2023 when we begin to deliver the qualification. We know what value time spent with an employer can add to a young person's skill set. And because of that, our college commitment is that all of our students take part in some form of work-related activity. So alongside encouraging the students to engage with employers, over the last year, while we've been in lockdown, our team has been busy creating online interactive employability skills programs. So the students access these alongside their core studies. There's 3 different levels, and all students are expected to take part in at least one programme with a view to continuing onto further programmes as they progress. The last one, Stay Ahead, includes the industry placement. So I've just mentioned industry placements and why work-related activity is important. So we'll just take a look at those in more detail. So as I mentioned previously, the industry placements are for students who are in full-time education and will be a core component of the new T-level qualification. So it's a minimum of 315 hours, which is approximately 45 days, and it's flexible to suit the student and employer. So it could be day release, or it could be blocks. So it's really about working in a real environment. So within a department or a team, making a meaningful contribution to your business. And it's not just the student that gains from this, because they're a consistent member of the team. It will have positive impacts for you in the short term, as well as potentially in the long term, that the young person could continue into employment or a higher apprenticeship with you. So the focus is to develop students' practical skills and technical skills, making them work ready. So it includes employability skills that employers have repeatedly fed back as an essential tool. So we've just looked at what a placement is, but why and how does it benefit a student? So as you will have noticed on the previous slide, one of the main differences between your typical work experience and an industry placement is the length. So by exposing young people to industry for longer periods, it not only expands the technical skills, but improves other qualities that are essential to success. So personal growth. So it improves self-confidence and helps the student to identify strengths and build resilience. The encouragement to set goals throughout the placement is a vital tool that they can utilise when planning the next steps. They'll be motivated to do well as they gain a sense of achievement, seeing how they improve. It obviously develops their skills. So how is that done? So learning objectives are set for the student, which are actually tailored to the individual, and they're monitored throughout the placement. By stepping out of the classroom and into a real working environment, it's a chance to put what they learn into practice as they learn it. So in turn, that will help with the development of the technical skills and knowledge. They'll also enhance the employability skills or the soft skills, so such as your communication, your problem solving and your teamwork. And then it's so important for their career aspirations too. So if you think back to when you were 16, 17, you probably had no idea of the different jobs out there. I'm still amazed now when I speak to employers of the different roles that they've got within the teams. So by spending time within your organisation, it's helping the students to understand what the next steps are so that they can make well-informed decisions about the future. It supports the progression into an apprenticeship or higher education or paid employment. And the relevant work experience on the CV, along with a reference from you, is going to look amazing. So if we take a look now at how a placement can benefit an employer too, we're going to hear from Dan from Unlimited shortly, but here's just a few things that employers have fed back. So it's a tool for smarter recruitment. So industry placements are an ideal solution for entry-level skills. So they help you build a pipeline of talent for junior positions or apprenticeships. You can avoid many of the costs associated with recruitment by connecting with young people who are beginning their careers. Also, as the placement is part of the student's course, it's voluntary, so there's no cost to you. Placements give you the chance to nurture the next generation of workers. So it's involving you, making sure that they're developing the right skills, knowledge and attitude that they need to succeed. So it's a great support to your existing staff too. So placements create opportunities to staff to act as mentors. So it helps them gain management skills, increasing job satisfaction. Young people can be an invaluable source of new and interesting ideas that can change the way you think about your business. Just think how great they are on social media. An industry placement student could help support a key piece of work that you may not otherwise have the time for too. And it's also a great way to support the local community. So industry placements create opportunities for a diverse range of people. So diversity within your organisation helps you understand customers better, and it creates better performing teams and creates increases innovation and creativity. They also create shared value. So they're a way of giving back, which benefits the young people as well as benefiting you. And a commitment to industry placements raises your organisation's profile locally and nationally. And we often promote our employer partnerships too. So now I'm joined by Dan from Unlimited magazine, who's going to answer a few questions for me about their experience so far. So thank you for joining me, Dan. So first off, why did you decide to offer an industry placement?
It's your email, if I'm being honest. That was it. We were engaging with the college on a couple of different things at the time. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of other projects. I think it started by looking at the Kickstarter scheme, which was sort of starting up around the time. I mean, that was the first thing that probably, and I think I'm presuming it was just a mass email sent out to sort of all your contacts. But Phil, my boss and the business owner, popped over to me and said, "This one might be good for Unlimited." We run quite a lot of interns down at our offices. So we produce Unlimited, which is a business magazine, and Expose, which is kind of like a student lifestyle magazine. And Expose regularly has contributions from students and young people sort of working on an internship basis as writers. So we thought it would be interesting to try something a little bit similar with Unlimited. We're a lot closer to the bone in terms of how we activate. So I mean, there's a lot more opportunity for being creative, I suppose, on the Expose side. But there's certainly a lot of things we can do with Unlimited to make it interesting. And we thought it would be useful from our side to get someone in to take part in, well, bluntly, the sales and administration side of it as well. We've got a couple of new schemes that we started up with the local chambers of commerce, which are a little bit more heavy. So there's a lot more communication going out on that side as well. It's kind of all falling to me, and we thought, well, having an extra body on the ground sort of one day a week would be really useful for helping that. Yeah. So that was the kind of the project as we saw it. That was the initial. It's morphed into something a little bit different as we've moved forward. But I mean, to be fair, I'll talk about that one in a minute. So
no, that's great. So how is it, comparing to your expectations so far then?
Yeah, so the initial process is sort of putting together a bit of a job description, and reasonably early on, through talking to Sarah, I was quite concerned that I wanted it to be an interesting role rather than just being given like quite a dull admin job. I didn't want it to be that. I was a bit that was definitely one of the issues I was a bit worried it could become. So I had a little bit of thinking. I thought, well, let's use what we can do. I've got some contacts in industries that I think would be interesting to a student to speak to, and I thought we'll add a creative side to it. And quite early on, we decided that one of the things we wanted to offer was sort of like the opportunity to publish a monthly blog. Essentially just speaking to some of the companies that we work with that are advertising in our columns, giving them an extra bit of page space, essentially where the successful student would interview them and reflect views from their industry and interpret them in their own way. So I thought it was a sort of different project, something quite interesting we could do for the magazine and would be good and engaging for a student doing it. That's the part that's really sort of come together. I think the next part of the process was an interview and sort of meeting a few students. Fen, who we sort of took from that, was great. Don't put him up too much, but he really stood out. He was a really exactly the kind of person that we were looking for. So through getting to know Fen, a lot more opportunities have kind of come together, and that's been the experience. Really, I think that we've kind of tweaked what we were doing to make it more relevant to what Fen's interested in. He wants to be a sports journalist. That's kind of his areas of interest. So we're kind of tweaking a little bit of the things we do to speak to people that we think will give him relevant experience and relevant information, and kind of work almost towards a bit of a storyline throughout the time that he's with us.
No, that's great. It's nice that you've been able to make it so personal, the journey for him as well. So how's it been during COVID?
It's been challenging because we were keen to get everything running. As I say, deciding to take it on did depend on a piece of work that we were doing with the Chambers of Commerce and some new offers that we were launching due to that. So we really wanted to start it in January. Obviously, then the lockdown happened again, which kind of set things back. So we decided we did want to move forward remotely. That's proved to be quite a lot harder than expected for us. Certainly in terms of the comms jobs, because obviously I want to proofread anything that would be sent out. I want to have visibility on any communication that Fen's doing, and also to hear him and see him doing what I do and how we do it. So almost so he gets an understanding of our style of communication. We've not been able to do that. That's either going to mean an awful lot of communicating through the day to the point where you might not even get the actual job done throughout it. However, it's also meant that we can very much jump on the side of the creative side of it. Mm-hmm. So I think that's the part that we've focused on really. When I've attended a few meetings that Fen's been able to oversee. I mean, obviously Zoom's made that really nice and easy. So Fen's attended a couple of sort of sales meetings that I've attended myself. He's conducted a couple of interviews first one was with our editor, Richard Fiddler, who used to work in sports journalism. The next one that we're doing this afternoon will actually be with a podcaster who does sports podcasts, which is another thing that Fen wants to do himself. So we've already lined up a few creative side, and I think that's been really good as well, sort of pulling the pieces together, editing them, sub-editing them, getting them ready, and yeah, they should be going out reasonably shortly now.
Yes, that's great. Harder. Even though it's been challenging, you've managed to adapt it so far, and then Fen will be able to join you soon, which is great. So how has it been working with the college? Be nice.
It's been great. It really has. The process, and again, I'm flattering people who are literally like right here, but Sarah's been really, really, really good to work with, really supportive. There was a lot of unexpectedly long forms, which I have no patience for whatsoever. So you've literally sort of talked me through what I need to be putting in boxes on occasion. It's just been really good. I mean, the nice thing that I always like in working with someone is having someone available to get on a phone. I kind of just, it's a bit of a bugbear of mine that people rely on email. So being able to sort of speak to yourself quickly to clarify little things here and there has always been really appreciated. But yeah, generally, there are necessary humps to jump through, which I'm not going to deny. But it's I suppose those hoops have been made as easy to jump through as possible, which has been nice.
Good, I'm glad. Yeah, I'm a phone talker too because I'm not very technical. That's why it takes me so long to write an email.
Yeah, I'm a one-finger typer, so doing like that's no good.
So how do you see it benefiting the business, sort of moving forward, having Fen on board?
It kind of already has. So as I say, in terms of the com side of it, it's literally a case of we fire out more information, more business is now coming in from that. It really is that side of it. We needed to make sort of the businesses that we work with aware that they can benefit from some new offers and whatnot. And it's I'm automatically going to a sales spiel. I'm trying not to.
Do it. It's fine.
So yeah, we've been doing that, and that's been good. So I mean, the opportunity to communicate it better it has already sort of seen that it's brought in, frankly, extra financial like contribution to the business, which is really good. The other side I think is, I mean, we are a small organisation. There's not a lot of us, and we don't have the facility, I suppose, to support in other ways. So it's like we can't really fundraise a lot. We're all quite busy. We don't have the opportunity to go out and do a lot of other things, and that's a shame a lot of the time. So it's nice to be able to give something back on a sort of corporate social responsibility level that does think, what we are helping someone in a very direct way as well. I mean, you can see the benefit of what you're putting into it. You put the effort in with it, the student themselves comes back with something good, and their confidence grows. So that's really nice. So, I mean, and PR. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's nice to be able to do something, and from our side, we want it to be very visible about what we were doing as well. It is a contribution that's great to speak about. We are kind of like a young people focused business. So we want to be able to give back and show that we're giving back too. So this is a great opportunity to do so.
No, yeah, it's perfect. Like you said, it's a great way to showcase to potential clients as well, just how great and involving you are as a business. So why do you think it's important that businesses do offer this kind of experience to young people?
Oh God, I'm going to sound like a real old man here, but I suppose, talking about the structure that you mentioned earlier around what you do when you sort of leave education, the route of when I left school was go to uni, study for another 2 or 3 years, and then go into a career. And that really didn't work for me. I genuinely of the belief that sometimes people can go through a whole educational path and come out of it completely incapable of being ready to work in the workplace. So on a very personal level, I think experience in a real workplace is really, really important. I think it gives a lot to a young person, and in a way, in a very small way, you're contributing towards that by doing something like this. You are helping someone get that knowledge and experience of what it's like being at the thick end of things. You've got to do the standard work. You've got to put the graft in, and I think me and Fred have literally just been talking about this morning. It can be rewarding. There's always something you can take from any role that you do, even if that's as I've done. I spent a lot of time working in retail myself, but there's a lot of interesting people that you can talk to. There's people that you can learn from. There's things you can do that are really, really of value to you as a young person. That is being at the thick end, at the grassroots, and involved in a real way, and not behind a computer. I mean, the biggest frustration for me as part of it is that Fen's not seeing, I suppose, what I do of a day, which is talk to people, communicate with people, not just sit at a computer working on stuff. So I'm looking forward to being when we can get into the office.
Yeah. Not long, hopefully soon. So what would you say to other businesses who are considering offering a placement?
I would absolutely recommend doing it. I would say think of a role that will add value to you as a business, and treat it like, a part-time job, I suppose, is the best way of doing it. If you've got an opportunity to have someone in, how can they contribute? How can they bring something to you? And I think just think of roles that will not be wasteful of someone's time. Like, think of things that really will be contributing to it. And I think that's what's satisfying. We really do. I feel like Fen's getting something out of it, and in a very real financial way, we are starting to get things out of it as well. So that everyone's winning there. We're treating him like a part-time employee.
Yeah, that's great. And for such, because he's not been with you that long now, has he? Like nearly 2 months. So to say that you're already seeing value is great stuff. So thank you for your time and input. So I'm going to have a chat with Fen now. So Fen, thank you for joining us. Can you tell me a little bit about your job at Unlimited then? What do you do sort of day to day?
Yeah, so every week we'll sometimes I'll complete admin for Dan. It sometimes varies. So like Dan said, when we had the interview with Richard Fiddler, we'll do stuff like that. And then we'll also conduct a blog monthly that we'll kind of I'll write it, but then we'll work on it together, me and Dan, and like go through it, and that'll get published on the website. So yeah, and hopefully when we get into the office, we'll be doing different things. But at the moment, I think we're making the most of what we can do.
Definitely.
And yeah, just doing stuff like interviews and admin, stuff like that.
No, it sounds amazing. I'm jealous. It sounds great. What's the best thing you've done so far?
Yeah, like Dan said, probably the interview that we did with Richard Fiddler, just because that's not something I've done before. Like jump into an interview with someone I've never really met, and it was good kind of learning what he's been through, because he kind of wants to go to the same down the same path as me, like sport journalism, stuff like that. So it was good, like having an insight and really talking to someone about what that path of work is.
Yeah, no, that's great. So how was it comparing with your expectations so far from what you thought at the beginning?
Yeah, definitely exceeds. I'm not gonna lie, I thought it was going to be a lot of like again a lot of admin, a lot of writing, stuff like that, but no, it's actually a lot more like it's a lot more personal. With like interviews, hopefully I'll be speaking to a lot more people, so he definitely exceeds it from what I expected.
Oh, that's great. So I'm guessing you're glad you applied then. Do you think it will help you when making, your next decisions after leaving college? Has it actually secured that is definitely what you want to do now?
Yeah, definitely. No, the thing is with it, it's more of just jumping into opportunities. It's like I could have very easily just looked at it and be like, oh, I don't know if I can manage that, but just jumping into it and obviously grasping opportunities, and I'm learning so much already, and I've only been on it 2 months, so come a year, I never know what's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? It's just I'd recommend it to anyone. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, great. So how do you feel that you've benefited so far? Like, what have you learned so far?
For me, I'd feel like I've definitely gained some sort of like self-confidence and self-belief, because again, like I said, going on to interviews with people I've never met or spoke to, it's quite a daunting thing when you first think of it, but then once you get into it and you start doing it, you definitely, I've only been on it 2 months, but you definitely start like growing as a person, because you're doing things you've never really done before, and I feel like that sets me in good stead for later life.
No, that's great. Yeah, you get a bit of a buzz, don't you? Like once you've done it, the adrenaline is rushing. So what would you say to other students then who are thinking about applying for a placement, or, ones that have maybe thought, no, I don't want to? Why would you encourage them to take part?
Because there's not really a lot to lose from it. Like I'd just say there's so many benefits that come with it. I think if you weighed it up with pros and cons, I think the pros would be astronomically more, because you learn so much, and there's just so much to learn rather than not doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. That's great. You're making me feel all inspired now. But no, that's fantastic. Thank you, Fen, for joining us today. And yeah, it's been lovely to hear your input. Thank you both.
Cheers. I've had to unmute to say thank you.
Yeah, thank
you. You're on mute.
Cheers, Sarah. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So hopefully we've inspired some of you to start thinking about how industry placements may fit in with your business plans. So now we'll have a little look at some of the great funding schemes available to support you now. So the first support is the Employer Support Fund. So this is available for businesses offering industry placements. So what we've just talked about with Dan and Fen. It's for Sheffield College students, and it's for this current academic year. Hopefully, if the feedback from the pilot is successful, we hope it might continue into further years. We're actually the only training provider in the region with access to this great funding scheme. And due to the current situation and the delay beginning placements, employers won't be penalised if they don't hit the full 315 hours, as long as every effort has been made to follow the structure of a placement. So that's great news as well. So it's responding to the impact of coronavirus. So the Employer Support Fund pilot was introduced, and it's open to any employer who needs support to offer an industry placement. You could receive up to £750 per student with a maximum of 10 students. So if we just have a look, here's a few examples of what you could use this support fund for. So it could be things such as PPE, laptops or training. These are just some of the most common requests, although it could be used for anything you need to purchase to set up a placement. So if you want to discuss the scheme in more detail and how it can work for your business, just please get in touch with one of our team. So the other funding scheme we've got access to at the moment is the Kickstart programme. So some of you might know we're also a gateway partner and we've been working closely with local employers to create vacancies. We've already seen some of the vacancies be filled actually, which is great. So, oh gosh, I've just lost my part now where I am. The scheme aims to offer opportunities to young people who are at risk of long-term unemployment, who otherwise may not have access to these opportunities. So it started in November 2020 and is currently set to end in December this year. So how it works is you receive up to £1,500 to support with the setup costs of the Kickstart placement. Then DWP will also pay the wages for 25 hours a week for 6 months. If you wanted the person full-time, you just pay them any additional hours over the 25. The NI, so national insurance and any other automatic costs are covered too. When the 6 months is up, you could employ that person or you could begin with another placement. So as a gateway partner, we support you fully through the whole process, from the initial application to hiring. All you need to do is supply us with the information and we take care of the rest. A big part of the Kickstart programme is developing the participants' employability skills. You can choose to either do this yourself, or if you don't have resources or time, we've actually developed a Kickstart to Get Ahead programme. It's at a small cost of £200 per participant, and this is just taken out of the £1,500 setup costs. If you want to find out more about the Kickstart scheme, please also get in touch too. So just before we break for any questions, there's just a few other ways that you can get involved with the students at the college if you'd like to. So industry tasters are a smaller snapshot into the working world of an industry placement, so it's usually a week or two. The Higher Skills, Higher Growth programme is in collaboration with Sheffield Uni. That's great for employers who want to get involved with student development and have a specific area they need help with. So we create a bespoke troubleshooting team of students for you, and that can include a graduate to oversee the running of the project too. There's employer talks or workshops, so you can come and speak to the students, give a professional talk, and give them an insight into what the world of work is like. We've actually just launched this week a VR hub for the students, where they can access virtual tours of different workplaces. We film it using 360-degree camera. It's really, really good. Yours could be next. We've got the Sponsor a Student programme as well, which allows company to make donations to the college to support a student with educational resources. Could be something like a laptop or workbooks. We've then lastly got our Employer Skills Academies, which allows employers to develop a fully functioning partnership with the college. So it includes having a fully branded college area and becoming involved in teaching real life skills. And as I mentioned at the beginning, Kia is the latest employer to join up on that. So there's so much information I've given you there, information overload. There's loads of ways you can get involved. I hope that you have felt inspired today. I mean, I have, and it's what I do every single day. So I'll just see if anyone's got any questions now for us. Is there anything, Neil?
Nothing's been posted so far.
If anyone has any questions, please feel free to ask. I think we're all good. We were that good, we've covered everything. That's fine. And if there's no questions, just want to say a massive thank you to Dan and Fen for joining me today and giving your feedback on your experience so far. I think everyone listening will agree. It was really, really great to listen to. I enjoyed it. And yeah, thank you everyone. And I hope to see you all at the next one.